Good evening. I'd like to call the December 10th, 2019 regular City Council meeting to order. Deputy City Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Councilmember Percival.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you'll rise for the invocation by Reverend Bill Keller with the Interfaith Faith Council, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Russ Brown.
Good evening. In this moment now, I would ask you to take a moment to just simply go within and know of the presence and the love of God within you or your Creator. We know that you will be guided throughout this evening through this time together and all that is to be accomplished in your service. Each one of you feel that heart, feel that love, guiding you to what is yours to do in this time today. We are all grateful for the difference that you make in our lives. And for this, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Please join me as we salute our nation's flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to item number 4. City Attorney, can you report out from our closed session, please?
I'll be happy to, Mayor. There are several items on the closed session agenda for tonight. The first two that are listed on your 6 o'clock agenda, 3A and 3B, Council decided were not necessary. We did not have any discussion under those items. Those were the 2 items related to the City Manager. Item 3C was a conference with legal counsel with regard to the Dow Chemical case. Council received a briefing from your special counsel. There was no other reportable action on that item, and the other 2 items, 3D and 3E, conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation and conference with labor negotiators, were not completed. Those will be held over until the end of your regular session this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, item 5, communications from the public. Anyone who wishes to speak during the public comment or particular item will be required to fill out a speaker slip. They must be turned into the city clerk. Each request will cover 1 speaker. Those who wish to speak must submit their own request to be called on. There is a 3-minute per person time limit for all comments, including public or quasi-judicial hearings. Written comments on any items may also be submitted to the city clerk to be included in the meeting record. It will not be read aloud by the city clerk. All who wish to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized. The members of public shall comply with adopted rules of decorum. Resolution number 4545. And please turn off or mute your cell phones before we continue on with the meeting. Thank you. Deputy Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, Mayor. There are 7 requests to speak. The first is Adam Evantoff, followed by Chris Kofoditz.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City staff. Just want to take a moment of your time to introduce myself. I am your new SoCal Gas representative for this area. Look forward to working with you all and also looking forward to being part of the community. SoCal Gas is all about public safety, and since it's winter time, a public safety moment, which we're encouraged to do, would be something like, remember, it's cold, but don't heat your house up with your oven. Another thing is that if you'd like to find some safety tips or some savings tips, you can always visit www.socalgas.com/winter and find some tips there. Thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Next up is Chris Kofoditz, followed by Susan Larkin.
How's that sound? Okay?
It is for us, but it might not be for them.
Pardon me?
It is for us, but it might not be for the audience. So if you can just speak up a little bit louder, that would be great.
Okay, I'll try.
Oh, let's check to see if it's on.
Not on.
There you go.
How's that?
That's perfect, thank you.
Terrific. My name is Chris Hoffeditz, and I live in the 4th City Council District, and I've lived in Hemet for about 11 years now. My purpose for coming tonight is to ask for your assistance in the preparation of a resolution in support of Medicare for All Act of 2019, and to get it placed on the agenda for discussion, and then get the resolution passed by the City Council. Some reasons why I support Medicare for All are that everyone deserves the right to competent health care. Medicare is the best-run health care system in the U.S. with an overhead cost of just 2.3%. We compare that to the for-profit organizations, healthcare organizations. Their overhead costs run from 12 to 18%. This would be a savings immediately of about $500 billion a year. Medicare for All will promote less expensive preventive medical care rather than more expensive crisis care. Medicare for All will increase the amount of money going directly to health care and will reduce the amount of medical dollars going to the profit motive. On the level of organizations, such as cities, this may relieve the burden of paying for health care for all city employees. Over 230 cities so far have passed resolutions in support of the Medicare for All Act of 2019. If you would like more information about Medicare for All, I will gladly meet with you and discuss what I know and provide available resources. I would like to request that one or more of you sponsor this resolution and assist me in writing the resolution in support of Medicare for All so that it can be placed on the Hemet City Council agenda and voted on. A couple sample resolution statements. Whereas the number of Americans without health insurance is still nearly 30 million people, with more than 40 million Americans remaining underinsured.
You have 30 seconds. Okay.
30 seconds. The quality of life, this is another, for the residents of Hemet will vastly improve because they will be able to get the ongoing care that they need instead of waiting until things are in a crisis situation. I appreciate having the opportunity to speak this evening. I would like Hemet to show that it cares for each and every one of its citizens. And I would like to ask if there is one among you who would care to make a commitment now.
Your
sponsor.
3 minutes is up.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
After Susan Larkin is Christy Barrett.
Not even close to being that tall. Hello, my name is Susan Larkin. I am the grant administrator at Valley Restart and president and co-founder of a new nonprofit called Housing in Action. I'm coming to you today to talk about homelessness. Cities around the county have decided it's time to act, large and small. The cities are developing plans to address the homeless crisis. There was an increase as much as 23% in the point-in-time count in 2019. Our valley is geographically isolated, but it's time to make specific plans to support local solutions, including financial commitments, support of low-income housing, support of prevention solutions, and support of the local nonprofits poised to address the problem. Support includes money, but it also includes just saying yes when agencies want to provide local solutions, such as housing and services. Citizens are tired of tents, encampments, panhandlers, and the other issues that seem to go along with homelessness. The solution is not to ignore the problem. The solution is to empower local nonprofits to provide local solutions. Let's replace the out-of-town agencies with local ones. Provide financial and moral support, or there will be no change. Today, I encourage the City of Hemet to include CDBG funding in the solutions to homelessness and to actively participate in the 2020 point-in-time count, which is going to be held January 29th, 2020. Thank you.
Thank you.
Following Christy Barrett is Jessica Munoz.
Good evening. I'm Christy Barrett and have the honor and privilege of serving as the superintendent for Hemet Unified School District. And I'm here this evening to share with you a celebration and to also come to you in hoping to have an opportunity to collaborate in changing the narrative in the communities that we serve. For those of you who attended the State of the District event some time back, you know that I entered into our time together citing an article that was recently published about the 50 most miserable cities in our nation, and Hemet, unfortunately, was 44. As a resident of this community, I was highly offended that not only were we I would say highlighted as the 44th most miserable space to be a part of, but that they have used a particular set of statistics to define who we are as a community. And I would appeal to you, as well as the communities that we serve, that we are much more. And that article does not do justice in describing the wealth of people that we have here that are committed to changing the trajectory of this community, and the City Council being part of that movement. And so with that, I will share with you that at the State of the District, I announced that we were one of 12 districts in the state of California, and to give that context, there's a little over 1,000 districts in the state. We were one of 12 selected by the Hewlett Foundation to receive a substantial grant to support the work that we are doing not only in our district, but I would say in our community. And we recently received notice that we are one of 2 districts in the state that will move on to the next part of this phase in the journey, if you will, with Hewlett. And so I hope to be able to come back to you in January and be a little bit more specific. With that being said, it is in my heart that we rally together to change the narrative. And I would like to tentatively invite the City Council, along with City Manager Lopez, to engage with a study session with our Board of Education to just kind of hear more about what this opportunity provides for us. We will have 3 prongs. The first will be around literacy, and that includes adult literacy in our community. The second would be around wellness. We mean both physical and mental well-being. And the third would be around developing a space where we can ensure that we have people exiting our system that can make a living wage. And so as you see, the scope of this goes well beyond the boundaries of the school district. The other thing I will share with you is that in response to that horrible article, several folks, including myself and Bruce Wallace, did send in a response. And I would want you to know that we advocated to change the narrative about who we are as a community and as a group of people. So thank you for your time, and we will be in touch to see if there's an interest to join us in a study session. Thank you.
Thank you.
After Jessica Munoz is Marianne Darwin.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jessica Munoz. I'm the Riverside County Executive Director for Voices for Children. We are the court-appointed special advocate program for Riverside County, and I've made it my practice to come to see you at least once a year to provide an update about the very unique service we provide to children in foster care throughout the county. Voices for Children's responsibility is to recruit, train, and support outstanding community volunteers to serve as volunteer advocates for children who've been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect. The volunteers that we train and support are then appointed by the judges who oversee the cases of these children. And as you probably know, being removed from a home due to abuse or neglect is only the very beginning of what can be a long and complicated process for our kids as they move toward either receiving services to reunify with their family or hopefully some form of permanency. And so while there are many wonderful social workers, attorneys, therapists, and others who come alongside our kids, the role that our volunteers play is unique in that they serve only one child or one sibling group at a time. And so based on that very holistic relationship that they're able to develop and the rapport that builds, not only does the child receive a caring, consistent adult presence, but that person, through their court appointment, has the leverage to then share their observations and recommendations with the court and other professionals on their case. I'm excited to tell you that in the 4 years that we've been here in Riverside County, from the first time I came to see you until now, we've grown from serving 140 children to 412 children, and 15%, or 62 of those children, are from right here in the city of Hemet. And so in order for us to be able to continue this work, we want to make sure that we're continuing to build partnerships with individuals who might wish to volunteer, corporations, foundations, and others who might wish to support the work that we do, and we're always grateful when people spread the word. So I'm pleased to be able to come here today and to give you this update and to tell you that we are absolutely committed to continuing to serve children in Hemet and around the county. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We always appreciate those updates.
Hello, my name's Marianne Darwin. Most of you have probably heard me speak here in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, I've been standing up here, and I felt that I've been coming to the city council to show and let you know what's going on in the city that maybe you don't tend to see or want to see. So I thought that I was helping out by coming and telling you some of the issues in town. But really, I haven't really seen anything any different, or some heads are just buried in the sand. I noticed that I go to just about everything that I can, and it really hasn't made any difference, but yet we still spend money on things that we don't really have money to spend. So now we've just given our city attorney more money, and we're going to allocate it by pushing it into different lines of business, so we don't know where it's actually being spent. And we don't really have that money. Hemet's been under the radar for being bankrupt for the last 5 years, and yet we still tend to spend, and it's not showing that it's gotten any better. I would really like to think that because I do live in the city, that there is something actually happening. But really all I do see and all I read is a bunch of people that do sit and complain. No one really shows up here unless there's a big issue or you're handing out an award. Or now you're going to shuffle seats and you're going to probably give someone the mayor's seat that hasn't really had that much experience. And then you're going to be able to tell them how to vote, what to say, and what hands to shake. I know it sounds mean, and I know that I don't sound like I'm very supportive, but if I wasn't supportive, I wouldn't be here every 2 weeks trying to help you to understand what is actually happening in this city. Thank you.
The last public comment is going to be Pat Gregory.
Good evening. As you get ready to vote in a new mayor, I thought I'd give you a quick summary of how I saw the past year's leadership. Hemet has a monstrosity of a library that is so big it can barely maintain its air conditioning in the summer. Our library is open 4 days a week. Yet one of the developers of this library was recently appointed to the Planning Commission. And for some reason, our library does not connect with the Riverside County library system that will allow for extra e-books. I did contact the library to inquire why this is. Didn't really get an answer. Hemet has a great senior citizen, a great building for seniors. It does little to service our seniors. It pales in comparison to the San Jacinto Senior Center. Hemet has a contract with the Animal Control Organization that houses its animals in a very depressing building. Yet right next door is a state-of-the-art building maintained by the county that is underutilized. And what really annoyed me the most is that this same animal control organization that Hemet supports allowed horses to starve for over a year and did nothing. And this is what Hemet supports. A library that doesn't support the citizens. A senior center that doesn't help the seniors. An animal control organization that does little to help our animals. This is what the city of Hemet has had this past year. I am sad to say that I'm very disappointed in how you handled this. I can only hope it can be better, but I really doubt you'll make any changes. It's too incestuous of a situation in Hemet, and the only way we're going to get better is to clean out what we have. So God help us all next year. Thank you.
That's all the comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we'll go on to item 6A, legislative update by Assemblywoman Melendez. Office.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, Mayor and Council. I know you guys were expecting the Assemblywoman. If you've seen her before, I'm about 6 inches taller than her, so no, I am not the Assemblywoman. Her son is actually graduating from Navy Dive School, so she's on her way to Florida to go celebrate and be with him for that wonderful occasion. I wanted to provide a legislative update. The Assemblywoman goes around at the end of every legislative session and talks to all of the cities in our district about the legislation that was passed. We had 800 bills, a little over 800 bills signed by the governor this year. The legislative session has ended, so rest assured they will not be voting on any more bills, and the governor will not be signing any more until January 6th of next year when the session restarts. So just await that wonderful day. The first one I wanted to discuss with everybody was AB 824, which is a win in our book. The Assemblywoman co-authored this bill, and it's definitely going to help our constituents. So it'll deter the pay for delays, and that is when a drug manufacturer pays generic companies to delay the introduction of lower price medications onto the market. So that way everyone will be able to access life-saving generics earlier than they would have if the pay for delays were in place and still allowed. So that one's a wonderful one that we're looking forward to seeing being implemented. And then we also have AB 48, which will allow voters to decide whether to allocate additional state funding for school facilities. So it would be $500 million for career tech schools, $500 million for charter schools, $6 billion for colleges, and $8 billion for K through 12, which is much needed in the state, seeing as we're pretty low on the totem pole of how our schools are doing in the state of California. And then another one, unfortunately, reflects that the legislature does not listen to the voters all the time. So if you remember in 2018 on the ballot, we had an initiative to implement rent control. The residents of California voted that down. They did not allow that to pass. Unfortunately, the state legislature decided that they wanted to implement it themselves. So AB 1482 would cap rent increases every year by 5%. So unfortunately, this one was passed by both houses and signed by the governor, which directly goes against what the state of California had voted on in the 2018 elections on the ballot. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
No? Anything possible?
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Next item, 6B. Okay.
Okay, well, on behalf of the entire City Council, I want to thank you for your resolute leadership and passion for our community. We know that the long nights and numerous hours related to being mayor and serving as a council member, while still working a full-time job that also has extra hours involved, you made that look pretty easy, and you always show up with a smile. Maybe you learned to get a grimace to look like a smile, but you always have a smile. So it remains my honor to continue to work alongside of you and as your colleague, and it's our community's honor to have you on the City Council. So, to recognize your service for the last year as our mayor, we have a clock, so you can keep track of time.
I could use that last year.
And so we want to thank you for your leadership and present you with this clock.
Very nice. challenges. It certainly was somewhat difficult handling both positions and many more positions as well as your duties representing a city. But I did it from the love of the city, which I will continue to do so, and whether I'm sitting on council or not. But it's been my pleasure, and I've enjoyed working beside each and every one of you, so thank you. Next item of business is recognition to our police chief, Chief Webb, in honor of his retirement. Now you can do a bigger smile than that. So it goes without saying that you've been a great leader for this community, and certainly respected and appreciated by everyone you've encountered or your team. You've done an incredible job, mostly regarding operations, but threw yourself into another role these last couple years, and continue your leadership, and we greatly appreciate that. I think there's a small slide. So, in case you don't recognize the chief, oh, they went back to this time. You want the back? Go back to the first one.
Yeah, I didn't have any gray hair.
How old were you?
At least you had here.
Well, you've dedicated a large portion of your life to this city, and we greatly appreciate it. And because of that, we'd like to provide for you, or present to you, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm not going to need a clock.
I'm going to have somebody else read this. I'm sorry, because I don't have my glasses over here. It's a little hard to read on that, yeah.
Let you hold that. It says, Chief Rob Webb, in honor of your illustrious career in law enforcement and the passion and dedication you committed to the Hemet community, the Mayor and City Council join to congratulate you for 31 years of service as a police officer and your upcoming retirement. Hemet has been indelibly imprinted by your leadership, your professional approach, and your excellence in policing. As you enter the next phase of your life, we wish you nothing but the best. Congratulations and thank you for your service, presented by the Hemet City Council, this date, December 10th, 2019.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a quick 31 years. I've seen a lot of changes at the city. I mean, geez, Charles Russell's in a suit in the audience. I mean, who would have thought? Things are changing dramatically here in Hemet. But I've loved working here. I've loved the partnerships that we've been able to form. You know, there's a few people in the audience that I've really appreciated working with. The superintendent, Christy, I'm a huge fan of hers. Exceptional leader in the community. Please follow her lead. She's speaking my language. I texted her right when she was done talking. That's one of the things that our department has really tried to do this year is focus on real positives. hard to do sometimes in law enforcement. Everything we do isn't rainbows and unicorns, so sometimes it's difficult to spin all the positives, but we really make a concerted effort to do that. There's so much good in this community. There's so many good people that we really need to focus on those things. So I would just challenge you as a community to continue to move forward in that direction and just try to make things better here. I have an exceptional team that is here that is ready to take over the reins and take our department to a new level. It's going to be interesting and challenging, but I'm looking forward to spending some more time with my family. But I do appreciate all the community support that we have seen. It's been incredible, so thank you very much.
I think there's a few people that would like to add their 2 cents to your career. Oh. Yes. You stay here. Well, and I invite those that wish to present something to the chief or have something to say to start. Dean Wetter from Valleywide.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'd like to introduce Janet Bissell, our board director and secretary for the board of directors. Appreciate you being here tonight as we honor Chief Rob Webb. And it was mentioned earlier about our community and what the community has to offer, but we don't do it independently. We do it through partnerships. And so it does touch my heart to be here to, one is to honor a great friend of many years of partnership and working together in support of the community, but also a deep sadness that you are moving on to the next stage. And thank you so much for leaving our city in a much better place. On behalf of our board of directors and our entire staff, we would like to present you with a plaque. Chief Rob Webb, Hemet Police Department. On behalf of Valleywide Recreation and Park District, we want to thank you for your commitment and support. Your compassion, integrity, and sense of community made our valley a better place to play. Happy retirement with our warmest appreciation, our Valleywide Recreation Board of Directors, and our entire staff team. Thank you very much for your service. In closing, I want to thank the council. Chris, this was a great idea to be able to do this in collaboration with partnership with the city, and we appreciate your support. Craig Schultz is also here, our public information officer, and just want you to know how much we support you. Thank you.
I think we have a slow waiting in the wings.
Was there no pun intended there?
None. Better get the tissue. Chief, you're going to make me cry again. Rob, I feel like a mother. Which I am, yes. He said, this city is greatly indebted to you. The seniors of this community, you have watched over in their deepest, saddest moments. You have been there for them. And I speak of an incident years ago at Hemet West Mobile Home Park that was tragic, and you were first on the scene to support them. They have not forgotten that. And I have not forgotten the many hours of counseling that you have helped me through. Years ago, when our chief and our department went under siege by an idiot, you were there
to make sure that your men and women were safe at all costs. And I don't think that the community has really appreciated the many hours that you have spent. But I know someone who has baked you a lot of chocolate chip cookies on your birthday and could not be here tonight. But from Lori Van Arsdale and I, who have worked very closely with you, in good times and bad, we had some great arguments over negotiations, and naturally you usually won, but with good reason. And you had a city staff as a whole, not just in the department, but in the city, that supported you and your efforts. And you had the wisdom to lead us forward. And I appreciate it.
Take a picture, Mom.
Okay, wait a minute, let me type my name. I won't feel so old.
It's still up there, Chief. Can't leave yet. I just wanted to share a few things about my time with the Chief and the time that I've been with the city. I think you've undoubtedly created a sense of pride in the Hemet Police Department, and I think that will continue to move forward, even beyond your retirement. So for that, I think we're all extremely grateful for that, and I think we all carry that with ourselves because you were the absolute #1 advocate for Hemet PD. So it's going to continue to live on. I could always rely on you to always speak your mind, irrespective of what the issue was. If there was anything that I could ever rely on, it was that you would speak your mind and you would be upfront with whatever issues there were. And that's in times of wanting to sugarcoat things, I could always appreciate that from you, Chief.
Never been known as a sugar. You got me into some trouble.
With that being said, though, you're one of the most responsive directors that I've ever worked with. And because of that, I think that's really what you impose on your staff, too. And so because of, this idea of leading from the top, leading by example, you completely exemplified that from the day that I first met you until your last day here at the Hemet Police Department and the City of Hemet team. You're leaving a legacy of outstanding policing. I think you've established your leadership with that same concept. And so I think that legacy, the imprint that you left on the organization will continue to carry on for years down the line because of the individuals that you've selected for leadership roles in the Hemet Police Department. And then finally, there is absolutely no doubt that you've left your mark in the Hemet Police Department as well as the City of Hemet. So with that, we're extremely thankful for your time here, and we wish you nothing but the best in your next phase. And you've got a key to the city, so please come back, remember us, don't forget us. So again, can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for the city, Rob. Thank you, Chief.
With that, next item of business, City Council reorganization, nominations for office of mayor, mayor pro tem, to serve to December 8th, 2020.
Honorable Mayor and Council, before you tonight is an item to reorganize City Council. Every year, members of City Council appoint seated council members to the office of mayor and mayor pro tem. Following procedure, I will ask for nominations for the office of mayor, and the newly appointed mayor will conduct nominations for the office of mayor pro tem. So with that said, are there any nominations for the office of mayor?
I'd like to nominate Mayor pro tem Russ Brown for the office of mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Please vote. And that passes 5-0.
Thank you. Congratulations. So now we will have, we'll switch a little bit. Mayor.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm deeply honored, and I will try my best not to disappoint and let anyone down. And going forward, I'm bound to make some mistakes, and I just ask indulgence and guidance from the experience that you all have. So with that, I will open the nomination for Mayor Pro Tem, and with that, I would like to nominate Linda Krupa for Mayor Pro Tem.
And I'll second.
Okay?
Well, and that's true. Councilmember Krupa has never been Mayor Pro Tem.
So with that, please vote.
And so we'll take a brief recess.
Okay, so now we'll take a brief recess while we shuffle our seats and reorganize. So thank you for your patience.